Hello! Today we got a new video for you. What kind of wave was this? Anyways, I got another video for you about piercings because I got another piercing, namely a tongue piercing. I can't yet stick it out further than that because it's still kind of, awkward with a really long bar and it kind of hits against the backs of my teeth if I try to stick out my tongue. So, yeah. Anyways, I also made a video about my helix and my belly button piercing, so I thought it'd be fair to make a piercing video about the tongue piercing too, so that's what you're gonna watch now, I guess. Well, first off, if you're getting a tongue piercing, it's wise to buy a new toothbrush first. Because, your old toothbrush will have germs on it from, all the times you brush your teeth with it, obviously. The best thing is just to start out with, like a fresh piercing and a fresh toothbrush. Just because there's no germs on it yet, and just, a clean start. So that's best. Also, I've heard it's best to use a non-whitening toothpaste. Personally, I'm really difficult with toothpaste because I always hate how it tastes. There's only one that I don't hate the taste of, and that is one by Colgate, the Max White one, Luminous. Yeah. Anyways, long name. But yeah, that is whitening. But I just try to use as little as possible and to just really only get it on my teeth, and not on my tongue. Then on to the actual procedure of getting your tongue pierced. Well, I got it pierced here in the Netherlands in Rotterdam. Sorry if I still talk weird, that's because of the piercing. Anyways, So I only know the Dutch way of, how they do it and the rules and stuff. Might be different in other countries, I don't know, but I'm just gonna tell you what I experienced. I just went to the piercing shop and told them I wanted a tongue piercing. Then they first tell you to go rinse your mouth. They just give you a little plastic cup with mouthwash and you just have to rinse your mouth with it. And meanwhile, the piercer told me what she was gonna do and in terms of how she was gonna pierce it. Also, what I could expect in terms of swelling and pain and what I could and could not eat, how I had to clean it, things like that. She just explained it while I was rinsing my mouth, so that saved time, it was nice. After that, I had to stick out my tongue and she dried it with a piece of paper and then just put a clamp on it. And then she just kind of put a dot, she put a dot on it first where she was going to pierce it, then she put a clamp on it. And I think that's actually a rule, at least it's actual a rule here in the Netherlands. They have to check with a kind of a flashlight whether or not there's veins, because on top the ball is supposed to be in the middle, and in the bottom I can't show that because I cannot stick my tongue out that far. The ball is supposed to be a little bit next to, a little bit not in the middle, but next to the whole, the middle part of your tongue. I don't know what that thing is called, but they can't pierce through that because that's bad for your tongue. Anyways, they gotta make sure that there's no vein in the spot where they're gonna pierce it, because they legally can't pierce you, at least here in the Netherlands, if you got a vein there, and I hope it's the same thing everywhere, because you just can't pierce through a vein, because it will bleed like hell and it won't be pretty, and you'll need to go to the emergency room probably if that happens. So go to a good piercer who actually checks for that. Mine actually did check for that, of course, so yeah, most people don't have veins there, so most people can just get a tongue piercing, but if you're really unlucky and you do have a vein there, then they can't pierce you. But you could always try to get tongue web piercings or venoms or whatever, there's always a possibility. Then they you still have to keep your tongue out, of course, and then they just get the needle, and I don't know if they pierce it from the top or from the bottom, because I was watching, was okay, I'm not gonna watch. Anyway, so yeah. I got to the pain later. So they just pierce it, put the jewelry through, screw it on really, really tight so it really can't get loose or anything. And then they gave me another cup and then water. Then they gave me another cup, this time with water instead of mouthwash, so I could just, drink a bit so the blood was out of my mouth. And then it was done. The pain wasn't really bad. I mean, I gotta say, it's pain is personal, So what hurts on me might not hurt on you, and what did not hurt on me might hurt on you, It's just you can't really tell another person how much something will hurt for them, because, it just depends on your own body. For some people, their belly button piercing didn't hurt at all. For me, it did actually hurt. It was like my most painful piercing so far. So I guess it's already positive news for the tongue piercing because that hurt significantly less. It still wasn't a very pleasant feeling. Like when the needle goes through, it wasn't really like a stinging pain, but it was more like really hard pressure. Like someone was really squeezing my tongue really hard. So it wasn't pleasant at all, but it wasn't really horrible either. And then there's another one of those like pressure pain things when the jewelry gets shoved through, and then it's basically like done. So definitely don't let the pain stop you, because you know, even if you're one of the unlucky ones that really don't have a high pain tolerance, it's just like the pain is like, you know, it's like they don't take 10 minutes shoving a needle through your tongue, you know. It's like they shove it through, jewelry through, done. It's like, during the first week, you can expect a lot of swelling. For me, it wasn't like, well, for some people, I heard from the piercer at least, it can be like that they really have kind of trouble swallowing. I didn't have trouble swallowing. For me, it was kind of annoying to keep my mouth shut, literally, because it was swollen, but I could still swallow. So, yeah, lucky me, I guess. In terms of pain, it's like a muscle ache. I guess that's the word in English. I don't know for sure, because the tongue is like one large muscle, so it gets really sore. I mean, the piercing itself didn't really hurt; just my entire tongue was sore. But it kind of like gradually got, you know, less bad during the week, and like on day 3 I could just, you know, eat regularly again, slowly, but yeah. On day 4 or 5 it like barely hurt anymore. And now a week later it doesn't hurt anymore at all. Even in the mornings it doesn't hurt anymore. Like it used to kind of hurt in the morning. I heard from a friend that it really hurt her really bad in the morning, because you just don't really move your tongue the entire night, so it gets kind of, you know, like stuck, I guess. And then you start talking again and it gets not stuck and it kind of hurts. But for me it didn't really hurt a bit either. And yeah, now after a week the swelling is almost completely down too. Not completely, but almost completely. Don't expect to be eating much the first 2 days, I guess. On the day that I got it, I only ate a pureed banana. Well, I had breakfast, of course, and I, you know, made sure to eat a lot of breakfast. Then around like 12 o'clock, 12:15, you know, in the afternoon, I got the piercing. The rest of the day, I only drank what's it called? Chamomile tea. I think that's the word in English. Anyways, it's supposed to help with swelling too. And I drank that. So yeah, and I only ate a pureed banana because it just really hurt. And they, like the piercer also told me that it's best to like eat stuff that you can just put like in the corner of your mouth instantly, so you don't have to like shove it over your tongue. And on day 2, like, and the day after, I could just like, I eat things like cucumber and stuff, like soft things you can just chew on a bit and then like swallow without having too much trouble with it. I also got the advice to not, like, if it was really swollen, to not eat things with milk. So no milk, no cheese, no yogurt, because that might produce more slime, and that's like more difficult, I mean, to swallow if your tongue's really swollen. But for me it wasn't really all that swollen, so I started eating cheese again after like 3 days. On the 3rd day it still kind of hurts to eat, but it didn't really, like, I could just eat normally. I just went really slowly because it still hurt. And from day 4 onward I could basically just eat as usual. It only hurt a bit, like it's still a little bit, but you know, it kept hurting less and less is what I'm trying to say here. And yeah, from day 4 onward actually I could just eat whatever I usually eat. And then one of the most important things about any piercing, of course, is cleaning it. There's 2 ways of cleaning a tongue piercing. One of them is with a mouthwash. My piercer told me that if I was going to use a mouthwash, I'd have to use like, it has to do like 50-50 with water. So like 50% mouthwash, 50% water. Really thin it out so it wouldn't be too aggressive. But from lots of people who have piercings, I heard that a sea salt soak is actually the best because it's even less aggressive. So I used the sea salt soak instead, and I just made it myself from like a cup of boiled water. I can't pronounce it right now. And a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt, and just rinse my mouth with that. You actually have to rinse your mouth every single time after you eat something, drink something, or if you smoke. If you had a smoke, then you have to like rinse it too, always. So yeah, that's also why I prefer sea salt, because you can just swallow it. So if you're like, you know, somewhere outside, if you like going to school, going to work, going out shopping, whatever, then it's kind of awkward to have to like rinse your mouth and then spit it out on the street. And sea salt soak doesn't really taste all that good because it tastes like salt water. But you can just swallow it without having any issues with it, so you know it's easier. So yeah, that was my experience with getting my tongue pierced and with the first week of its healing. And so yeah, if there's any questions, just ask below in the comments section and I'll answer it. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed watching this. I hope it was useful. And I guess I'll make another video in about a week or so, or 2 weeks, whatever, on how it's going. So yeah, anyways, thank you very much for watching and I hope to see you next time. Bye!